Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much for Ma and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. And I don't blame him 'cause he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. And he must have thought it was a mighty fine joke, and he got a lot of laugh from lots of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some girl would giggle and I'd turn red, and some guy'd laugh and I'd bust his head. And I tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. But I grew up quick and I grew up mean, and my fists got hard and my wits got keen. I roamed from town to hide my shame. But I made a vow to the moon and stars that I'd search the honky-tonks and bars, and I'd kill that man that gave me that awful name. And it was Gatlinburg in mid-July, and I just hit town and my throat was dry. I thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. And it was an old saloon on a street of mud, and there at the table dealing stud was that dirty, mangy dog that named me Sue. And I knew that snake was my sweet old dad from a worn-out picture my mama had, and I knew that scar on his cheek and the evil in his eye. And he was big and bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood turned cold, and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? And now you're gonna die." And I hit him right between his eyes, and he went down, but to my surprise, he came up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear. And I smashed a chair right across his teeth, and we crashed through the wall and into the street, kicking and gouging in the mud and the blood and the beer. And I tell you, I fought tougher men, but I really can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and bit like a crocodile. And I heard him laugh, and then I heard him cuss, and he reached for his gun, but I grabbed mine first, and I sat there and looked at me, and I saw him smile. And he said, "Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough." And I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I gave you that name and said goodbye. I knew you'd either get tough or die, and it's that name that helped to make you strong. And you done fought one hell of a fight, and I know you hate me and you got the right, and you might kill me, I don't blame you if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in your gut and the spit in your eye, 'cause I'm that son of a gun that named you Sue. Well, I got all choked up and threw down my gun, and I called him Pa and he called me son, and I left with a different point of view. And I think about him every now and then, every time I fight and every time I win. And if I ever have a son, I'm gonna name him George or Billy or anything but Sue. I hate that name.